Hello and welcome to Tucson, Arizona. I am Randy.
I'm Nick.
Are you? Are you though?
Sometimes.
Dude, I'm so exhausted. See that? Boom, baby.
Boom, full screen.
Magic.
He knows what he's doing now
Yeah. Well, that's a bit much.
to make it a full screen.
Oh, did you notice my new sign?
New sign. Which sign? Oh, I did not get. Oh yeah, I noticed this one.
So that one eventually is going to get mounted on that arm. Unless you want it, you can have it. I can print more.
I didn't even realize you printed it. I thought
Yeah.
it was.
No.
I thought it was actually like one of the rubber ones.
Oh
you
yeah,
buy.
yeah. The
So
little
it
silicone
looked
ones.
like it sitting there.
Yeah, no, I printed that,
I'm
and then I made this one a magnet.
gonna give it to Jackie when I get home and just walk upstairs see what she does.
That's part of why I printed it. But yeah, no, everything in here, I did not add that, but that is my chicken.
Nice.
So you can't tell on the screen, but that's my one chicken, Porthos. So yeah, I've added and changed
Quite a bit.
lots in here. It's not done. I'm still working on the table, but things have happened. Yeah, you see him.
That's how I feel today.
That's how I feel every day. So I'm exhausted, man. That trip, and I did video for the trip, but I was really angry, so I don't think I'm ever gonna post anything about it. But I just got back from Kentucky. I hate flying.
Yes, flying is a pain in the butt.
Like, I would say I hate traveling, but I travel every year, and I love road trips. I hate traveling for work. Period.
No, I mean,
I hate it.
even if you have to drive to like Phoenix or somewhere, or is that?
No. Like, if I have to drive,
Okay.
I'm golden. But if planes and buses and trains, trains, and automobiles, but I'm fine with driving. Like, driving to Phoenix. I mean, I did it for years. I'm a Tucson guy, Tucson, Arizona, but I was a Phoenix tech for years.
That's why it's named that.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
It's named that because of what we do in the shadows. So if you like what we do in the shadows, Matt Berry's the man. He's my hero. Jackie Daytona. Like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, you always forget. Good job,
Dude, yeah. Only because I said something about the name.
Boop, boop, like.
Yes. Or dislike. Leave mean comments. Say that he's ugly and that I'm dumb. Or that I'm ugly and I'm dumb.
If you just want to state facts.
Yeah. So, flying to Kentucky. So, I've lost weight this year on purpose because I got tired of walking around at 275 pounds. It's hard. Breathing sucks. Everything sucks. I could lift heavy, but I'm old enough and my knees are kind of shot now that I'm not like, I was going to compete. Everyone was talking me into competing, and then I'm like, I'm done. I'm just too old. Like, I'm looking 40 in both barrels, dude. So,
Yeah.
like, I'm too beat up for this. I'm not going to do this. Like, I'm not going to risk. I've already had a few surgeries. I'm not risking more because I tear things. So I'll just work out just to stay healthy. And then, so like right now, I'm only 235, maybe 240. So I've lost a lot of size, and some of it makes me sad because my arms are the smallest they've been in like 10 years, and that makes me depressed.
Gotcha.
But like, I'm not weak, but I mean, I'm not as big. Like, welcome for me. Apple to apple. So I'm only emotionally weak. So like, but I'm not narrow. Like, I'm a wide dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, and I don't see that until someone else shows me like a picture of me walking somewhere or standing next to someone, and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm that much wider. Like, okay. So like, I am over 24 inches wide, shoulder end to shoulder end. Most seats are only about that. So I get on the first flight, and I'm already up at 4 a.m. to go catch a flight to Atlanta, Georgia, to the 2-hour layover, and then an hour flight to Kentucky. Not looking forward to any of this. It's a little over a 3-hour flight from Tucson to Atlanta. I told my boss when he was booking my flight, window seat. I'm a window seat guy. My dad is clearly an aisle guy because he said that quickly while we were talking. He was like, aisle, of course. And I was like, no, I do window. Because I like to be up against the wall so I can lean over and go to sleep. And I go pee right before I get on the plane. And I mean, like, immediately before I get on the plane, I've gone to the bathroom. I monitor my fluid intake, so I never have to get up. That flight can be 5 hours long, and I've done that, and I'm not getting up. I watched all the Lord of the Rings when they came out, the weekend they came out, and did not go to the bathroom through any of those movies. I went to all 3 of the original films as a kid and did not once get up. And so like I'm careful. I don't want to get up and bother the people to go to the bathroom and all that. So I know I'm not getting up. I want to just be in the back. I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of 2 short, like 5'4", and I'm just shy of 6 feet. So 5'4" dudes that are at least my weight.
Yeah.
And these old boomers, and I don't normally throw that term around because it's used too often and it's stupid because you're using it against 40-year-olds. The boomers are from like born in the 50s, 40s and 50s. So these old men clearly have never seen any piece of data about how to properly fly.
Yeah.
What happens if you, okay, so in your opinion, I'll ask you this before I go on the rant that a great comedian already has done. You're in the aisle. What belongs to you if you're in aisle seat?
The armrest on the aisle side and the tray in front of you.
Exactly.
And the tray next to the guy in front of you, just because you're a jerk.
And
but
what does the middle guy own?
the armrests for the most part.
Both of them,
Yep.
right? Okay, and then the guy in the window owns the wall and the window. And if you're a proper window guy like myself, you keep that shutter closed. Because that if you're past the wing, that wing is blinding everyone in there. And there is no need to be that guy unless one of your fellow aisle people go, "Hey brother, can you open the window?" Then you open the window. Otherwise, you keep it closed. You inconvenience as few people as possible. We're all stuck on this death tube. No one wants to be here anyway. Let's go. I like jumping out of airplanes. I don't like riding on them with a bunch of strangers. So I'm stuck in the middle between these 2 fat dudes who believe my armrests are theirs. And now I'm getting angry. So I'm trying to squeeze in and be as narrow as possible.
Think then.
Yeah,
think
dude. And I'm up against the armrests. Like there's no escaping this. So, and they're both taking up like the whole armrest. They're not like taking up the front or the rear so I can have something. So I'm just getting mad. And about halfway through the flight, I was like, screw this, man. I'm tired. It's like 5:30 in the morning. I didn't get enough sleep. So I put my little pillow around my neck and I just started nodding off. I had my hoodie kind of like in a pile in my lap and I was using that as like an armrest. Well, I guess while I was sleeping, aisle man got up to go to the bathroom and I slumped over. So that armrest is now mine. So now I'm like, all right, I'm a little bit more comfortable. I've got my hoodie, with my left arm, and I've got the right armrest. I'm like, all right, cool. And he keeps kind of leaning on the front of it. And I'm like, yeah, kick rocks, dude. And then I slowly kind of encroach and still the back half of my left armrest. So throughout the rest of the flight, I'm like, oh my God, okay, this is a little more tolerable. So then we get to Atlanta, have a 2-hour layover, and I'm just like hanging out. I took my Switch, so I'm playing the Switch in the like terminal. Get on the flight. I'm the window. Yes, it's what I asked for. So I'm the window, but I'm on the window next to a plus size lady and I've got some pretty thick thighs. Her thighs are like 2 or 3 of mine. So now she's encroaching on leg space. And I'm like, whatever, it's an hour flight. I don't care anymore. So I'm sitting there, got my phone propped up on my little foldable stand, and I'm just watching a movie. Hour, get there, okay? Get there. These are all first world problems. I probably sound like a damn crybaby, and I'm fine with that because it was my lived experience. So I get there, and I'm like, dope. I just go Enterprise, get my car, go to the hotel. I'll take a shower, feel better about myself, go find food, and buy like my deodorant and toothpaste that I didn't think to buy the travel size. And you can't take full size with you. And I try not to check a bag on a short trip. Like, unless I spill something on my pants, I'm wearing those pants the whole time I'm gone because I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
But I took a spare pair of pants and then, a couple shirts. I always take 2 more pairs of socks and underwear than days I'm going to be gone just so I have them. Especially if you're going to a humid climate. I want all my parts to be dry. So get there, get to Enterprise. I'm like, oh, thank God. I was like, hey, bro, I need my car. And I give him all my information. And he goes, okay, that'll be $300. When I travel, I take cash. I I don't use my card because that's a quick way to get hacked by anybody who understands how to hack cards remotely or whatever. And even if I tell my bank, I don't want the headaches of dealing with any upcharges for being out of place or whatever. So I just take cash. And we do that when we road trip all the time. It's got a stack of cash. It's easy to monitor how much money you've got to play with, all that. So I took a bunch of cash with me. Left enough in the bank account for like bills that needed to be paid and like gas and everything for people back home, and that was it. So I get there like $300. I'm like, well, I don't have $300 on my card. And why is this my problem? This is a company problem. Company rented my car. Company made me come out here. This is a company problem. I was like, cool. Can I have my boss just run the card remotely? And he goes, no, that camera has to see me take the card.
Yep.
And I was like, this seems like a really stupid business model for people who are traveling who paid $1,200 for a package between a hotel room, a car, and airfare. Like, my company paid a lot of money for this whole bundle.
Yep.
And I still have to spend money?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I guess I don't get a car. So then my boss had to have me attach a company credit card to an Uber account and then Uber everywhere. That is super inconvenient.
It is.
So I'm Ubering all over the freaking place. I go to Walmart, get some necessities, forget some necessities, had to create a DoorDash account. 'Cause these are accounts I haven't used in like 7 years. Like, I don't DoorDash anything. I go get it. So I had to create a DoorDash account and then DoorDash the few more necessities I needed that the hotel doesn't sell because I forgot to buy deodorant.
Yeah, that's so annoying too.
The hotel, giant Hilton hotel, massive hotel, giant indoor fountains. I mean, it looks like an apartment complex. Like, it is massive, and no deodorant. I'm like, I will take. Hey, lady behind the counter, I will buy your deodorant if it's on you. Like, I don't care. So I had to DoorDash deodorant. That's super annoying. And then I was like, all right, I just need food. I haven't eaten since 4 a.m. because I had a burrito before we left. That's all I've had. And I don't mean a big honking burrito. I mean like a small 2-egg burrito. So just enough protein to like get me through the morning. I am now 12 hours deep and haven't eaten. So I'm starting to get angry by just everything. So I'm like, cool, I'll just go down here to the lobby because I don't want to Uber somewhere else again because everything's 10 minutes away from this hotel because it's a Hilton. It's on like this private golf course, hell and gone from anything. It's not like I can just walk down the street to a convenience store like any other place I've ever stayed. So, and I bought like snacks or whatever. Like,
you wanted dinner.
But I needed dinner. Like, I bought like protein bars and like Crystal Lights and stuff like that to like get me through the stay at the hotel, but not like actually to keep my sustenance up. So I was like, screw it. I'll just go have a burger down here in the lobby because the lobby's got this giant bar and restaurant with this huge, like patio, or not even patio, it's indoor, seating section to eat. So like, it's pretty cool. Like, they can accommodate like 150 people, no problem. So I was like, sweet. I'll just go down here, chill, have a burger, relax, go have a shower, and just chill the rest of the night and play the Switch and just be left the hell alone. I get there. It's cashless bar, cashless
So
restaurant.
weird.
They can charge the card or your room. I was like, well, I already had to pay a $50 deposit on the room. One more thing I had to pay for. Like, fine, just charge the room. I don't give a shit. Just give me a burger. And then it was a chintzy burger, but the fries were bomb diggity. So I ate, went up, showered, and then just chilled the rest of the night. Got to training. Big Ass Fans is the coolest company. So did the training, did all the install stuff, whatever, and then found out that the very next day, the 7th, was the day of Real ID had taking place. I don't travel. I don't have a Real ID. So now I'm trying to, in the middle of lunch during this training, on the other side of the country, I'm trying to change my flight. And it looked like it went through. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm not going to have any travel issues. I'll just fly out tonight. Be a quick turnaround. This is going to suck, but okay. And then I checked my confirmation later, and it wouldn't change my flight. So I'm like, well, Guess I'm going to the airport like super early to go through whatever inconvenient double checks they may need me to do
Yeah.
to get back home. At this point, I just want to go home.
How bad was it?
It wasn't.
Oh, okay.
So like I'm stressed, dude. Like super stressed. In a normal like vacation mode, Randy, nothing stresses me out, dude. Like literally nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, cool, man, whatever. Like, it's a problem. We'll figure it out. Like, what's the quickest way around this problem? I don't care. Like, I'm in such a chill mode that, like, everything just kind of works, and I don't care. Like, destroying my truck, pulling the toy hauler a few years ago.
Yeah,
Like,
dude. Cool.
all right, cool. Like, I brought tools, I brought parts. Like, no big deal. Band-aid my truck, go finish, enjoy my week-long vacation. And at some point in there, I'll buy more material to, like, help fix my truck a little better. We get home and I'll do all the proper money spending. Like, it's not the end of the world. I didn't stress about it. I managed to band-aid my stuff together, get to camp. Like, the next day, went to the next town, like 20 minutes away, bought some hardware and stuff, came back, drilled holes, built brackets, enjoyed the rest of my vacation, didn't stress about it. Like, if on the way home something else breaks, I will get a big ass tow truck to tow my heavy Suburban and oversized toy hauler. Like, no big deal. Don't care. It's not the end of the world. I can fix this. I brought the things to fix something like this. Dude, jeepers. But when I'm doing stuff like that for work and I've got zero control of anything,
Yeah.
dude, I freak out. So, not to mention that I'm not like eating properly or getting enough food the whole trip. So like I didn't eat much the whole time I was gone. Kind of sucked. But they supplied lunch, which was awesome and such a great freaking experience all around. So deal with the training, and I'm like, well, talking to all the dudes that were there, and they're all talking about going out to like steak, whatever. And I thought I was flying back at that time, so I just like, hey guys, later. Get back to the hotel, find out that I'm not flying out tonight. So then jump through hoops to get the numbers of the guys from Phoenix. And I was like, hey, you guys said you're going out to steak. Mind if I tag along? Like, yeah, we'll come pick you up. So then they come pick me up. We have a great time together. Lots of fun conversation, good food. Other dude bought. So all I spent was the money for tip. I was like, oh, I'll get the tip then. Like, I've got cash. I can finally use my cash.
I can do something.
So I'll throw like $35 down on a tip. No big deal. And then just hang out the rest of the night playing Hogwarts Legacy on the Switch. Just chilling. And then the next day, checkout's at 11. So I check out at 11, Uber to the airport. My flight's not till 5:55. So I hung out. So I go in, I buy a bunch of little souvenirs like I always do. I always buy everyone something from whatever state I'm in. And like snow globes or keychains or whatever. This year the boys got some cool Kentucky shot glasses. And go through, I was like, okay, here we go, because no one's there. Like, there was like 3 people in line to go through TSA. So I print all my stuff, go through TSA, and I was like, hey, and I go to hand him my ID. I was like, bro, I don't have a real ID. And all he did was hand me back my license with a red notice and did this. Didn't say not one word to me. So then I go through and I start taking off my belt and, my slides and everything. And everyone's kind of moving quick. I was like, sorry, bro. Like, I got all kinds of crap in my pockets. And the dude's like, that's what they're there for, bro. Like, the TSA guy was so chill.
That's cool.
And I was like, oh, man, like, my hat. And he's like, you can keep your hat. Like, oh, no, don't worry about that. And then I'm like, oh, damn, I forgot my watch. And the lady's like, it's cool. Just, like, keep your hands up or whatever. And I was like, all right. So did the stupid cancer scan, go through. All my stuff comes through, and I'm always leery, dude, because when I travel, like, my backpack is full of electronics.
Yeah.
I've got my phone. I've got this brick. I've got cables at the wazoo. I've got my GoPro. I've got gear for the GoPro, batteries. I've just tech gear, laptop. Like, if I make any videos, I can edit them while I'm there. Like, and that's how I travel. That bag always has all my gear. I'm always waiting for them to go, like,
What the hell?
what is all this?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, a Switch, a laptop, a camera, thousands of batteries and power packs and little power blocks and cords like spaghetti. Like, if you just looked at it at a cursory glance, it would look like you've built a bomb. Like, Like I've just MacGyvered all this wire together to explode. So takes a second. It comes through like no problems. And then now I'm waiting in the airport for 5.5 hours.
So you didn't ever find out what that little red notice was?
Yeah, bro. So I've got it right here. I sent it to a few different people laughing about it. So the little red notice says real ID. The ID you presented is not Real ID compliant. You will need a Real ID or other acceptable form of identification for your next flight, or you may expect delays. And that's
So
it.
you get like one warning.
I have no idea because there's no record that they gave me this. There's probably record that I flew without a Real ID.
Yeah.
But that's
I was gonna say maybe it's attached to your ID when they scan it.
all you get. If so, I'll go at some point in the near future because now that I've done a training, I think they're going to expect me to do a few more. And back in like November, like October, November, they wanted me to go do that, the electric car charging stations.
Yep.
But they only gave me like a week and a half notice. I was like, no, I'm not flying anywhere on that kind of notice. It's not happening. Like, sorry about your luck, dude. Like, I don't like traveling for work anyway. But, like, no. So then this one, there was lots of notice. And I shocked the whole system when I said yes.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know. They literally planned to have 2 people from Phoenix go because they didn't think anyone from Tucson would go. So then they ended up paying for an extra person because they didn't plan well enough.
Well, and I answered right away. The day that came out, Dennis sent me the email, was like, hey, can you look this over? They're asking everybody. Just let me know. He goes, your dad's already made it clear he's not going anywhere. And I looked at it, and I was like, I love that product. I would love to be, like, certified to install that stuff. And I am so glad I went. And that's why I was giving as much information to Corey yesterday as possible to let him know, like, I
want more.
I really enjoyed that. Well, I wanted more training, which is why I went to New York a few years ago, but I haven't been anywhere since 2019. Nothing. They were supposed to send me to something else, and then it fell through because the world shut down because of the cold. So I
haven't had I haven't left for training since I started here I started there in 19,
19,
I think.
Okay. Yeah, 19 sounds about right.
Yeah, because this would be year 6.
So 19.
So I haven't traveled since 2020.
When you went back to Atlanta?
When I went to Atlanta. I had to go to California once for the initial training, which
when you took Jackie with you?
No, she went with me to Atlanta. With California, she didn't.
Well, but you were okay. I thought you were talking about trying to get her to go.
No, I did try to get her to go, but she couldn't get it off work. So, but I went there for a week, which that was just a joke. Like they literally, the training they always went over till like 6 or 7 o'clock at night, every time. So, and it was full week, Monday through Friday. So you start at 8, you're there till like 7. And then, so you're starving by the time you get out of the dang thing. And then we left and it pretty much just went to the hotel and grabbed food in the hotel lobby every night. And then they gave you homework, which you were supposed to do every night. So plus I had to do my job. So I'm working at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night on a damn computer from the state away, trying to finish stuff that we needed done here. And so it was literally just like working all week. There was no break, nothing. I mean, everybody else was like new as well. I had been there. I think I went like 3 months in.
Yeah, you were here for a bit.
Everybody else was like a week in, 2 weeks in.
Oh no, yeah. So they had
nothing to do. So they would at least be done at 8 o'clock at night and be able to go up and chill and watch TV or something. I was working till 10, and then I'd go to sleep, wake up, and do it all over again. It was so stupid.
That's dumb.
And then
my favorite traveling for work ever. Carrier was really cool. Like New York was pretty cool. But when I was engineering for Ryan Companies out of Minnesota, I loved going to Minnesota. I don't particularly like have an opinion about the state, but I went in the fall, like late fall, and then days before Christmas. The weather was awesome, but I like the cold, which is kind of funny being in Arizona. But That company did it right, dude. Like their training facility, every major office that they have, every like company office, not property they manage, has a full bar, like with kegerators and everything, fully stocked bar. We'd be in meetings at the big office in Tucson that was not their office. It was just an office we had in a property, and you'd be teleconferencing for big trainings or whatever, big meetings, and everyone in every branch was sitting there drinking beers. I'm like, oh, dude, like, so I asked my big boss, because I only had like one boss. I was like, dude, why don't you like buying us 6 packs or something for these meetings? He's like, I can't because of the building we're in. I'm like, because they were in the main TEP building. Like, we
Oh,
can't do that here. And I'm like, well, that's stupid. Like, what
yeah.
the hell? But going to Minnesota, both times I went, like you're hanging out, you can drink. They take you out. For the like onboarding all new employees, they fly back to Minnesota and you do initiation stuff there at their whole home office.
Like hazing. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
And they sit you in a
They
seat
get
to
you
whip
drunk. They get you drunk. That's for sure. They are like 2 blocks away from the Viking Stadium,
That's cool.
so like there's lots of cool stuff to look at. Really cool place to just like wander around and sightsee. But yeah, they take you out for lunch, drink at lunch, all that fun stuff. Like they kind of encourage it. They're like, "Hey man, what are you drinking?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm a whiskey guy." They're like, "Yeah, cool man, we got great whiskeys here." Like,
That's cool.
and then at night they take you out for dinner, and they pay the full tab, including all the alcohol, and they are very cool with you getting boozed up because your hotel is literally across a 2-lane street from the head office. They've got like this program where all their people stay at this. It's called the Radisson Red, and it is a really nice hotel. So then went up there for a couple of days for that. Loved every second of it, and then went back in December, right before the weekend before Christmas, for 4 days for this 75-year anniversary. I actually have my tag hanging right there on the
Oh,
wall
yep.
from that event, and they took over an entire, it was like 8-story hotel, this giant hotel. They took over the whole thing. The ballroom was our big conferences, and then several of their other giant meeting rooms. Because every hotel's got like,
Yeah.
here you got like the Ocotillo room and all that crap. Every major giant room there had different training classes, and you'd go through those, and they all were like fun. You learn different parts about, because Ryan is a ground up company. They will they will buy the ground, do all the groundwork, build the property, finish the property, manage the property, and if they want to sell the property, they do all of that in house. So they've got electrical, pipe fitters, welders, like they've got every division covered. Super great company. So we went back for that, and then they threw giant parties every night for that, and I mean like massive parties. Plus, one of the nights was a Christmas party, so I dressed up in my Christmas suit, which it's blue with snowmen all over it. I just found it the other day and dug it out. But like, so then everyone's wanting to take pictures with me, and I was one of the only bearded guys. Like everyone there is clean shaven. And back then my beard was twice the size it is now, so everyone was like, "Oh, let's get a picture with the snowman guy with the beard." But yeah, dude, they just do it right. They treat their people right. Not saying our company doesn't, but they don't quite do it like that. Like they don't go, if you're like corporate or management or whatever, they'll do stuff like that for you. Like then you go to Con Ed in Atlanta, and
Well, they don't do that anymore.
but they did.
They did.
Like from you got to think though, I've got a long history of career with this company.
Yep.
They always did, and I always wanted to go check it out just once.
Con Ed was actually pretty cool. Like
That's what I've heard.
it was. There was a lot of
Frivolity.
yeah that happened there. Though. There was a lot of things that I.
Can't unsee.
Well, I mean, I didn't get involved in any of it, but I heard a lot of things that happened because I mean, Jackie came with me, so I was like, I'm not gonna go hang out with anybody that I still barely knew anybody.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not gonna hang out with anybody. I'm just gonna go back. And then I heard like, I won't use names, but
Yeah.
like bosses taking a whole bunch of girls out to possibly places where people get naked and stuff, and buying drinks for everybody and inappropriate comments, and
Yeah, hoping things go their way.
yeah, I would assume so. But I wasn't.
I believe it.
I wasn't any part of that. I actually did like it though, because even though they don't do, again, you talked about maybe staying longer when you were there, they let me do that.
See,
So we were supposed to leave. I think we were supposed to leave Sunday, and we stayed Monday, Tuesday, I think. And
I would have stayed all week. I would have actually gone in earlier so I could have watched Kentucky Derby, because
Yeah.
I went
That would've
like
been cool.
right after Derby, which sucks because I love the Kentucky Derby. Like I would have gone before, so I would have been there for the weekend of Kentucky Derby, and then I would have stayed a few more days because the Mary Todd Lincoln building is there. The house was like 10 minutes from where I was staying. They've got the Ark experience where the dude recreated Noah's Ark is like 35 minutes away. Like those are things I would have checked out had I had a car. Like if I had a car, I was gonna go check those things out. But if I could have stayed longer, I would have been checking out all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I would have went over to Louisville and checked out. I'd have had a bat made. Like I would have like lived it up. I would have taken in the full Kentucky experience, and I would have got a little twisted on bourbon.
You would have dated your sister? I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Cousin.
cousin. Sorry,
Yeah,
my bad.
Alabama is your sister.
Gotcha. I'm sorry. I have that
Yeah,
backwards.
there are rules to the South. Texas is your second cousin.
God.
You got to keep some forks in the tree,
Yeah.
or at least some rounded knots. But yeah, dude, like I'd have done it up. I'd have been checking out all kinds of stuff, but that
Good.
didn't happen. And then I've been to the Atlanta airport like 7 times in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Chicago O'Hare probably 5 times in my life. I've never been to Chicago or Atlanta. Like,
Good. And-
I've technically been in their property,
Yeah.
but like I've never checked that out.
So we didn't go a ton of places. I had just switched from a really good paying job to this
To
job.
this.
And,
Sacrificed
it was,
income.
yeah, I mean, especially in the beginning, it was
Oh,
rough.
yeah.
And moving sales jobs, it happens. But we didn't go around to a ton of places, but we went to like Coca-Cola Factory and a couple places like that.
Yeah,
while we were
dude.
there,
Like, that'd have
which
been cool.
Coca-Cola Factory was cool. And I'm not gonna lie, I think my favorite place in the entire thing was the hot dog stand outside of the Coca-Cola. Dude, we went and got a Polish dog, and like, relish isn't my favorite, but they don't use mayonnaise in their
Which
relish.
is weird because you love pickles.
I do. I love pickles.
See, and
but
I love
don't like
relish. I love pickles. I love relish.
So, he's like, "Oh, do you want relish on it?" And we're like, I'm not a huge fan of it." And he's like, "It's not mayonnaise based. It's why can't I? Like dressing based almost. Like they use a
Okay.
dressing in it." And I was like, "Sure, let's give it a shot."
Relish is mayonnaise based?
Some of it, or not relish. What is that?
Horseradish?
No,
Mayonnaise based.
coleslaw. So they
Oh,
put
okay.
coleslaw on it.
I was
I'm
like,
sorry.
relish?
You are, bro. I told you this morning I was tired.
Fair enough. No, fair enough. I was just like
I gave
so
blood
confused.
today. I have no. I gave blood and then I gave blood again. I'm drained. No, sorry, my bad. Coleslaw.
Okay, yeah.
So-
I'm with you now.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, it's like a different base to it. There's no mayonnaise.
Like a
in it.
buttermilk base or something.
Yeah, and it tasted kind of like a Italian dressing almost.
Okay.
But I was like, sure, let's give it a shot. So, and we had just eaten.
So coleslaw on a dog.
Yeah. And I was like weirded out by it a little, but we bought one, and again, we just ate food, and we had just eaten like barbecue from there. And I
Yeah,
was
you were
like,
like pretty full up.
yeah, we were full, and I was like, I want to try one though. Like, yeah, we take a bite. Jackie took a bite, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking eat this whole thing. So we shared it. Then we went through the Coca-Cola factory. As soon as we were out of the Coca-Cola factory, I was like, I'm going to get another one. She's like, seriously? I was like, absolutely. That was the best hot dog I've ever had in my life. So if that guy's still there and you guys ever go to the Coca-Cola factory, the guy on the outside, best hot dog I've ever had.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I went to a place that closed back in 2018 or 19, Cervezas.
Yeah.
Remember Cervezas?
Yeah.
So every airport I went into on this trip had a Cervezas in the airport.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think they went exclusively to airports if I heard correctly.
that sounds right.
might be wrong.
Based on the dude I talked to, based on what I heard from the dude I talked to. So I mean, I had this like 5.5 hour, hangout in Kentucky. I was like, dude, I'm hungry. So I went over there and I went in to have lunch. And I'm talking to the dude, and we walk in, and it's got like a full big bar in the center, and then seating like tables all the way around. So I grabbed a soda and sat down and started chit chatting with this dude. And I was like, man, that's kind of wild. Like, I've been seeing a lot of Cervezas. I said, but I'm kind of sad because the one in Tucson closed years ago. And he's like, yeah. He was like, I know that one. And he goes, I guess his wife is the beverage manager for all of them.
Okay.
And so they had come down here a couple of times to go to that one.
Makes sense.
And then from there, he started talking about the restaurant that's an old house downtown. It's the home of the chimichanga.
Oh, yeah.
Because he brought it up. But he hadn't been El Charro.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
So he'd never been to El Charro, but he went to the, what's the other one that El Charro owns? Like El Charro, there's Cafe, and then then there's something else. So he goes, I've been to the other one, but I never went to the converted house. And I said, oh yeah, the original El Charro. I said, that's where chimichangas were invented. And he goes, dude, that's so dope. He's like, yeah, like I've heard that. And I was like, yeah, it's true. I said, it's still open, still there, still awesome. It's still such a cool place to go into because it's an old house. Like, he's like, yeah, it was the one thing I regretted was, he goes, I've been to Tucson like 4 times for work for this and never went there. I was like, make sure you do, man, because they do it right. Like, that is the big claim to fame in downtown is the chimichanga. Mm-hmm. And that place, like that woman invented those.
I'm just saying, without them, Deadpool would have nothing to eat.
That's right, dude. He'd go hungry.
He wouldn't have even been invented. I'm going to go that far.
Yeah, without Deathstroke, he wouldn't have been invented. Oh, yeah, so I had, what's wild, dude, this blew my freaking mind. Lexington is one of the most diverse places I've ever been to. Period. My first Uber driver was dapper, dude. Like, nice peaky cap, nice, like, fancy sweater.
Any razor
big
blades?
Gold pinky. No. He was a dapper
I know.
peaky hat. Big gold pinky ring, like, nice frame glass. Like, dude was dressed up to drive Uber. And I was like, damn, bro, you're dapper as hell. And then we start talking. And I was like, hey, man, I was like, where are you from? And I'm like, screw it. Like, I'm here. I'm going to learn as much as I can about everyone. Normally in Ubers, I just go, hey, man, how you doing? Yeah, here's where I'm going. And I mind my business. But there, I was like, screw it. I've had a terrible day. Adventure time is on. So I was like, where are you from? He's from Haiti. So then we wound up talking. I'm stuck in the car for 20 minutes going to my hotel. So then we start talking 20 minutes about like Haiti and like how we came to Kentucky because that's far away. There's a lot of states between Haiti and Kentucky. He lived in Florida for a while and then moved up to Kentucky and loves Kentucky. And then I was like, that's pretty wild, man. I was never expecting to meet someone from Haiti. Like, you'll always randomly meet like one person who moved here from like England or Germany or something. Yeah. And it's like one. It's like a unicorn. There's a ton of people. So the very next person I meet is from Marseille. So he's a black dude from France. Like, very thick accent. So I get in the car with him, and he's wearing a soccer jersey. So I was like, hey, man, is that a football jersey? And he was like, yeah. But he, like, I think he was one of those dudes that's, like, hesitant to talk because his command of English isn't as strong as he wants it to be.
Second language.
Yeah, so I think he's just kind of hesitant. I was like, that's cool, man. What's your team? And because, I mean, soccer dudes are, like, all in on their teams.
Dedicated, yeah.
So I was like, so what's your team? And he's like, Marseille. And I was like, you from France? And he's like, yeah. I was like, that's pretty dope. How'd you come here? Yeah. Like, Lexington seems like such the bizarre place for anyone to come to from anywhere else on the planet. Like, if you're from Kentucky, cool, move to Lexington. Like, all right, cool. You're from France. Why are you in Kentucky? Why aren't you in New York, LA, Chicago, like one of the big cities? So we're talking about France, and I was like, yeah, my kids speak French. And he's like, really? I said, yeah, that was the language they took all through high school. Like, my youngest is still taking it. Like, they both speak French. They're both like pretty decent at it. I wouldn't go so far as to say that they're fluent, but they're both pretty damn good at it. They'll do it all the time. And because I'm a curious person, like I know a little bit, so we're chit chatting and stuff, and so I thought that was pretty cool. So when I got out, I was like, yeah, man, like I try not to butcher other languages when I learn them. Like I love learning German. I took it through high school, but it's one of those things. If you've got a second language, if you're not using it,
You forget.
you'll forget of it. So like, there's only a handful of things I remember, and French I never took, but I have tried. Like I've done Duolingo with French to try to pick up some of it,
See,
mostly to keep my kids up on it when they were learning it. Like,
yeah. So, high school, I took Spanish for
a bunch of times.
Technically 3 years, but 2 years of Spanish. It's the only class I ever
I
failed.
took high school Spanish a bunch of times.
Exactly.
Are you fluent?
No, I feel fine.
Anyways, so you took it.
Yeah, the only class I ever failed, and I only failed it because I had way too many absences. And he wasn't wrong. I had 52 absences and 90 days. So I failed. I had a B. I had a B.
You were never there.
I know, but I had a B. So
Hola, como estes?
But-
That's all you knew.
I played very dumb a lot of the time because I mean, a lot of our friends spoke Spanish.
Yeah.
So
we're
I didn't
in
let
Tucson.
I didn't really talk any Spanish with anybody, and so I understood a lot, but I had a harder time speaking it.
Yeah.
And I know that's pretty common.
Yeah,
But
so
so I
especially
understood
here.
a lot of what they were saying and calling me stupid, which they were right. But I just didn't speak a lot of it. But honestly,
Leto.
Trevin and Colton will come home and they're like they learn Spanish at school and daycare. They just
Okay.
numbers and like small stuff.
Uno, dos.
And you'd have like I don't know what the heck you just said. Like I know that is like the most basic of basics.
Which is
I don't
where
remember any
you
of it.
can drop one of my favorite lines that I always use out of context. I try to do that with all of my favorite movie lines, out of context as possible. You know I don't speak Spanish, like because now you can actually use that in context. I do that every time someone, like especially at work, is talking about something that I'm unfamiliar with.
Mhm.
They're like, "Oh yeah, we'll do this. It's all about Spetzer valves, boys." So if you're Spetzer valves and ball bearings. So if you're a movie guy, you get the reference. Let me know in the comments. So I use that all the time. You know I don't speak Spanish, and it throws Ramon off every once in a while because I don't think he's ever seen the movie.
Yeah, plus his sense
So-
of humor is very different
Yeah,
than
yeah.
ours.
So he just kind of looks at me, because he's the dude that since I met him, and I've known him since '08. He used to always his thing he always tells me is I would have made a great Mexican because of my attitude, my work ethic, and what I like to eat. He's like, man, you'd have made a great Mexican, senor. That's he says it to me all the time, but he calls me Barbone. So, that's bearded guy. But yeah, so like I
Anyway,
there's
French, that
certain
guy-
Spanish, but yeah, so French, like, so then I was like, merci, and he was like, and he just kind of chuckled and then responded in French, and then I was like, have a great day. So go to Walmart, get stuff, and then I had a good old boy pick me up from there, and then I met another dude. So my next Uber driver was from, where the hell was he from? He was from somewhere else wild too. Where was he from? There was the French guy, the Haiti guy, and the other dude was from, was it somewhere in Africa? I think he was from somewhere in Africa. And I'm like, what? Like, this is wild, man. Like, now I'm like going nuts. I'm like, that's so cool. I met a black dude from France and a black dude from Haiti. Like, and he was like, yeah. I was like, that's so unexpected. Like,
Yeah.
I was anticipating banjos in every Uber ride and just some good old boys just hating on them, people coming over. So like that's what I was anticipating. And that's definitely what everyone would anticipate. Like that's the stereotype. Every one of them were like, no, we're a super diverse town.
That's
like
cool.
there's in Walmart, in the airport, and in a few different restaurants, I heard Spanish in every place I went.
which you would not expect. From
I was not expecting that. So like the whole family's be rolling through, just blowing the hell out of it. And I'm like, I was not anticipating to hear Spanish here. Like I felt at home, like I felt like I was on the South Side, at that Walmart.
Yep.
There were so many Mexican speakers there. Like I was like, so many Spanish speakers.
Yeah.
But like every one of them were Mexican dialect. Like none of them were like Cuban, Spain, because they all have separate dialects. And if you know, you know. My stepdad's from Spain.
Yeah.
I can pick out the Spanish accent is very different. That's a lot of gracias. It's a lot of the tongue stuck to the roof of the mouth. Very different. Like everyone there was very much like Mexico. Dude, so wild.
Tucson is not that way.
No, it's whites, a little bit of blacks, and a lot of Mexicans.
And that's pretty much it. So randomly, when I drop Jackie's car off and get work done to it, sometimes she's working, so I just Uber home. You know how close it is. It's literally right there by Kohl's.
Yeah.
So it's like
right
a
down the street.
$6 Uber ride home versus me having to wait for her.
Yeah,
So
waiting an
I'll
hour
Uber there
or
and then
two.
I'll drive her back and pick it up, or Uber back and pick
Spend
it
the
up.
$12.
Yeah,
or whatever.
it's not that big of a deal. Well, it ends up being like 20 by the time you tip them, but still, like it's not worth it when her tire kept going flat fast. So it wasn't like, hey, it's an oil change we need done in the next 2 weeks. It was one of those ones I needed done. Take the car off, drop it off, and when I just random, remember what city I'm from? Utah.
What city?
Yeah, do you remember what city I was?
Not off the top of my head.
Provo, Orem. I was born in Provo, lived in Orem. Main Street separates the two.
Yeah, so like I knew you were like grew up in big city.
Yeah.
But you're like from, and I'm like,
No, I grew up in Orem, and Orem's small. It's like I think 45 minutes out of Salt Lake, but it's like a Tucson almost compared to Phoenix. Like I know the sizes are a little different, but my Uber driver was from there. Yeah, she was just like, oh, I just moved here from I don't know if you've heard of it, but Provo, and I was like, well, I lived in Orem. She's like, I grew up in Orem. But she was a lot older than me, so it wasn't. She was probably like in her 50s, late 50s, I'm guessing. But and I was like, that's just unexpected for me.
Oh,
Like,
dude, absolutely.
It's a smaller town. You don't really expect it. And my Uber driver back was a very, very, very dark, complex guy or complexion. He's black, but like
Purple.
very, very, very dark. And he said he was from Mexico.
Yeah.
And I was like Mexico? He's like, yeah, Mexico City. And I was like, okay, I wouldn't have pictured that at all. You know what I mean? So the last two I've had have been super weird. Then I went to give blood this morning, and just randomly I talk to people when I'm there. The guy taking my blood and asks you all those dumb questions. Have you had sex with anybody in the last 24 hours, or since you took your thing that might have AIDS? I took it 5 minutes ago, sitting in your lobby. Nope.
No.
Didn't even finish the bathroom, bro. Like,
Is there a glory hole I don't know about?
like all these weird questions, and I understand the reason behind some of them, but I think some are a little off base. But anyway, so I give blood. They make you go sit down for a couple minutes, or they ask you to. I don't know if they force you. I've just always done it.
You've never been forced.
They're just like, sit down. But so I go sit down for a couple minutes, and there's a older guy sitting up front. He came over. He was 76. I started BSing with him. I took like 2 snacks. Ate some fruit snacks. Sitting there, he walks over, and like I literally took him out, sat down, and he walks over and he grabs one like out of the cupboard, grabs one, fills it, and shuts the door. And I was like, am I making your job harder, man? And he's like, no, man, I'm just trying to stay moving. I'm old, like I'm just trying to get steps and blah blah. Like he was a cool dude. So we start talking about like him and his wife, and he was like, oh, what do you guys do for fun? He's like, oh, we like to travel, but we didn't really do it when we were young, so we were only traveling close. Like San Diego is cool because it's 6.5 hours away, and that's not too far. And then we live in Tucson, so we're 6.5 hours away from the people we don't like. And I just started laughing. I was like, I like you. You're cool. And he's all, hey, where have you been? And I was like, me and my wife went to Italy, and then for a couple days on that trip, we went across the little water,
canal.
the canal there, or whatever the heck. I don't know technically what that is. Is it sea?
To where?
To Croatia. Is that sea right there?
That's ocean, yeah.
Okay.
Or sea.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't. That's what I mean. I don't know technically what it is, but I was like, we went over to Croatia. He's like, Croatia? Are you from there? And I was like, no, I'm not from. No, I'm not from Croatia, man. And he's like, no, it's just so weird because that guy's sitting over there, and he points at the guy who just came in as I was walking out. He's like, he's from Croatia. I was just talking to him about it. He said he loved it there, and I should go visit. And I was like, you should have one last hoorah and go to Croatia with your wife. It was totally worth it, dude. I loved Croatia. That's the one place, if I had to pick so far, I would go back to. And he's like, Croatia, where'd you go? And he got all bent and bad, and he's like, all right, you went to Split? Like, he was like writing down what I did. I was like, dude, it was cool, man. Like, I love that place. So, it was just random because, did you ever meet Sinisha at Larry H. Miller?
No.
Okay. So Sinisha was one of the guys there, and he's like,
Oh, you told me about
yeah,
him.
big
Yeah,
stocky
you
dude.
told me about it. No, I never met him, but you told me about him.
he used to tell me stories all the time. He's like, dude, top of Croatia. If you get to the top of Croatia, there's a little tiny land, and then it's Italy. And I don't remember what countries between them. But he's like, there's just this little tiny... He showed me all the maps all the time. He told me the story like 10 times. He's like, you go from here straight to here. And at one point, you couldn't get cigarettes and alcohol in Italy. Or no, in Croatia. He's like, so we go over in our boats at night, just pitch black. You just boat over. And he's
Dude,
like...
that's how
and
people here did it with Canada.
yeah. And he's like, you'd see the cops like patrolling, and you just veer around them because you just got a little tiny boat with a little motor, and you shut it off when they're
Just
not
a
moving.
little troller.
It's just a little troller. He's like, you get there, you buy your stuff, you go back, and you made so much money, bro.
Dude, that's like beer with Canada up near like Wisconsin and Minnesota and all that. They used to go across to Canada to get beer.
Yeah. So he's like, he used to tell me about it all the time, but he's like, Aaron. Remember Aaron you used to live with and stuff?
Aaron I used to live with.
Yeah, Aaron.
I didn't live with, I worked with him.
Oh, I thought you. Oh no, you always hung out at his apartment. I'm sorry. Yeah, you worked.
Yeah, no.
My
we
bad, dude.
partied.
We
Yeah.
partied there a couple times. I don't know why. But
I was like, I never lived. I was like, Aaron, who did I live with?
a very fit version of him, but Croatian.
Oh,
That's
okay.
like that was his size, but
Yeah,
he was
short,
stocky,
short, square dude.
and he would say something and you believed it. I mean, can I say things on here that
Dude, yeah, we're
Okay.
we're past half an hour, so you can say whatever you want, and I might get monetized.
Okay. So all the time he used to tell me they came in like
Was he the dude who got arrested?
yeah.
Yes. Well, yes.
So-
Get into it.
So I got there and he was like, "Oh man, a couple months ago, it's a good thing you didn't get here till then." I was like, "Why?" He's all, "They came in turtle suits." That's what he called them. And that's actually what
Ninja
John called
Turtles.
them. Yeah, Ninja
Ninja
Turtle
Turtles.
suits. He's like, and they raided Larry H. Miller for him, and they knocked him to the ground, took him, dragged him out, didn't charge him with anything. This is his words, not mine. I have no idea what actually happened, but didn't charge him with nothing. Released him. He'd been fighting him in court for like 7 or 8 years because I worked there and then I worked at Windows and Doors and then I moved here and this happened like 2 years ago now, I think.
Yeah, I
maybe.
looked it up when you told me.
Yeah, I still have it in my phone somewhere.
I looked up the
but
article.
it turns out he did tell me I was military there. Like that's what it was. He was in the military, served there for a few years, but apparently he'd had like a whole bunch of what is that called?
He was a war criminal.
Yeah, war criminal. He was a war criminal. He like had a whole bunch of people and like, dude, my brain is not working today. Tortured them.
Yeah, he was
to get
torturing-
information, and apparently they never told him to do that. So
He was torturing captors because they were. Was it going through a what's an uprising? A civil war? Was
Yeah.
it civil war or were they at war with another country?
I
don't remember.
I think it was a civil war.
But he was capturing enemy combatants and torturing them
Yeah.
on his own.
Well, no, there was a group of them.
Yeah.
It wasn't
He
on
was-
his own.
Yeah, he was part of a group, but I'm saying like
Yeah.
not being commanded from higher ups.
And several people apparently showed up and eyed him one-on-one. Like, that's him.
That's the
right
guy.
there in the front row. So he kept telling me, he's like, I'm going to win this like $2 million settlement against the U.S., blah, blah, blah. And apparently he won. I don't know what he took, but I think it said he could get like 45 years in prison, so many dollars in fines, and then another 35 years that's non-stackable, like for different offenses, or we can send you back to your country,
Yeah,
which then he would just be killed. I'm pretty sure because they don't care over there.
Yeah, they don't do them concurrent.
Yeah. So I don't know what he took. I don't know if he went back home and died or if he's sitting in prison. But I just remember seeing that and I was like, holy
Dude, that's a
cow.
tough call. Would you rather do the rest of your life in American prison or go back to Croatia where you are a war criminal?
And they literally, he told me that if he's like, oh, what they said I did wasn't true. If I did that, man, they'd take me back there. They would literally put me in a cell, log me in, kill me, and say I was there for 25, 30 years or something
Yeah.
until I died so that they could collect money and just have an empty cell. He's like, that's the shit that they do. I did it.
So yeah, so if you were in that position, which would you pick?
Oof. I don't think I want to go back. I don't want to die, man.
I'd go to Croatia.
Just get it over with.
I decided when I was like 16, I had a very close call with going to do time. Like very, very, I narrowly got out of doing time. We've done videos. I have a past. So, yeah, we haven't gotten into a lot of it, but we've done some of the funner hijinks we've gotten into. So there was a time where someone else did do time and didn't ever once say that I was a party too.
That was nice of them.
So yeah, so that's what happens when you're actually boys. We're not boys anymore, and I don't know why, but we were at the time. And they were like, well, there was someone else there, and he's like, no, I was the only one there. So it wasn't like a lot, but when you're already like a multiple, you're just like stacking on, crimes against yourself all the time. He did a little bit behind it, but nothing crazy. So I wouldn't have done I probably would have gotten like fines and probation and stuff. I probably wouldn't have done time, but I could have.
Yeah, it was possible.
Yeah, it was definitely a possibility because he did do time behind it.
Well,
so,
it was a possibility when we were drunk.
Dude, every time. Yeah, how we managed to because it was our first on paper arrest or whatever.
Yeah, no.
So
Paper
it was the only time we ever
report.
got caught for anything. So I decided then, I was like, and I didn't stop doing stupid decisions. I kept making dumbass decisions, but I decided I was never going to jail or prison.
Yeah.
I will and then yesterday Dad went to prison.
Yeah.
So I went back to the office after getting all those waters and stuff and some parts, and Dad was back. So he's like, they let me back out. It's like his favorite joke because he's a dad.
Yeah.
So then you were standing there, and I was like, yeah, well, at least you weren't there visiting me, making my joke.
And I said, at least you weren't there visiting my dad.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that.
I didn't hear that.
He's not there anymore.
Yeah, he's not there anymore. I did not hear you say that.
I definitely said it.
I probably would have hurt myself laughing. But I was like, but then I said, no, I decided when I was a teenager, I wasn't doing time. If I did anything bad enough for me to do time, I would just suicide by a cop, sewer slide. I'm not going to do time ever. I'm not a small man, but I am not a huge man, and I can't fight two dudes. Hear stories all the time.
I don't know how many of them it would have took to kick my ass, but I know how many they were going to use. Ron White.
Yeah. So it's nah, I'm not. I can hang one-on-one with a lot of dudes way bigger than me.
Yeah.
And keep my virginity. If you're bringing two guys, I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to die trying. But I told myself I was never going to allow myself to be in that position.
Yep.
To, ever have that be a possibility. In that situation, life, forever.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm going back to Croatia. Kill me, collect your money. I don't care.
Try to escape on the way there at least. You got some sort of chance.
Yeah, I'm not doing time on nothing, man.
Give some bad people there and they just re-recruit you. You never know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what he picked, but
yeah, I just remember reading that article the day you called me about it a while back. You're like, hey man, that dude, he was a war criminal.
How do I end up finding these people?
Yeah.
He was the nicest guy in the world to be he was like, hey, if anybody ever messes with you, I will fuck them up.
Because you weren't an enemy combatant.
True. But even he met Jackie and he was she bought a Charger.
Yeah.
And it was identical to his Charger besides motor. They all look the same.
He had the bigger motor.
Of course he did.
There's not a smaller motor.
So he met her and they were talking about the cars and he's like, I love mine, blah, blah, blah. And I guess when I walked away, Jackie told me, he said something like, if he ever fucks with you, let me know. He was a good, to me, he was a good dude.
On this side of the ocean, he was a good dude.
Yeah. But he was the guy we had. When I first started, they had a lot of company parties and stuff like that. He was the guy that girls would get drunk, and guys would be hitting on him, and he would be like, "Hey, I'm just gonna use a random name. I can't think of anything, but Sarah, come here. Okay. Hey, I'm gonna put you in an Uber. Where do you want to go?"
He was the cooler.
Yeah, he was just
He was the cooler.
Yep, and he fit the profile. So, and like guys would be like, I'm going home, and he's like, nope, you had more than 3 drinks. You're either staying for a long time or you're not going home. Somebody has got to take you. And he's like, and I literally saw him tackle a dude, take his keys, throw the keys out in the middle of nowhere, and he's like, good luck.
Good luck.
You're not doing nothing. So
It's like a responsible Morrow.
exactly. But he didn't drink though, so he never. Well, not that I know of. I never saw him drink.
Never drank.
If he did, it was very like discreet. If he drank,
He was drinking at home. So there are movies about what's that one called? Not the professor, the teacher, or something like that. There's a movie. I haven't watched it, but I've watched like the trailer and read about it. And there's a movie about a student who is college professor who he's like tutelaging under was a Nazi officer.
Oh, okay.
Who lives here now, and he finds out, and it's like the whole tension thing. So I haven't seen it, but that's all that comes to mind is like he's going back home, and he's like looking at his wall of memorabilia of like all his war crime times.
Dude,
it's so wild. Like
So-
it is the most insane thing.
I swear, when you see anybody who's done anything bad in a movie or something, they always have trophies.
Yeah.
All of them. And I've done things that I'm like, hey, I went and did the Bondurant when it was here in Tucson, or when it was in Phoenix, I mean. I went and did the Bondurant. Like, I got to drive super cool cars. They taught you how to drift. We were driving Vipers at 90 miles an hour around corners with, I mean, there was somebody there showing you. They're sitting next to you. They show you how to do it. They have you do it.
Vipers have no ABS, by the way. And no traction control, no assisted driving. Sorry, They have ABS. They don't have any assisted driving.
Yeah. Oh, well, when we learned to drift and stuff, it was in Chargers. They were so there was like 4 or 5 different cars that we drove, but they would do it once and show you at like 140, and they're like, hey, you start at 50, and then you go around the track once and you do it at 50, and then 60, and then 70, and then 80. So it was a cool experience. I kept something from that. That is cool to me. But in my brain, I don't think if I was going to end someone, I don't think I would want to get rid of all the proof.
Dude,
and everybody,
right?
And I think I'd make a horrible serial ender.
I wish
life.
I would have known we were getting into this topic because I do have a war trophy, a legitimate war trophy. You were here when I got it.
For what?
I have a World War II Nazi officer's saber.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like, I wish I would have known we were getting into this. 'Cause
Totally
at some
random,
point,
but-
it's going to hang in here.
Yeah.
But I do have. It's a legitimate war trophy.
See,
My buddy's dad was a tank gunner, and where they were at in, I don't remember. I think they were in France, and I'm trying to remember the whole like location and time because it was kind of near the end of the big part of the war, but the war was still happening. Like Hitler hadn't gone down and all that yet. But they were in this northern part of France, and they came upon this small village, very small village, and all these Nazis had all their villagers lined up against the wall, and they were getting ready to execute them. And they rained down hellfire and ended the Nazis' little party, but they ran over. So he killed that officer from his turret on the tank, and I don't know if it was the tank, I think, or a Jeep or another vehicle ran over some stuff trying to like catch down some other people and get in the fray. So the saber got ran over. The saber itself is in perfect, immaculate condition, but the sheath for the saber has a dent in it, and that's from being ran over after the dude got off. So he got the sidearm and the saber. So the man who gave me the saber, his brother still has the pistol. He still has the broom handle Mauser.
see,
And I want that
that's
to go with the set. So I do have a World War II war trophy from an officer because only officers carried sabers.
that's different to me though, because
Absolutely.
that at the time, though, it was ending. What I don't know how you have to say it. Whatever,
Deleting somebody.
someone is not a
crime.
good idea at any point, in my opinion. But when you're in war times and stuff like that, it happens, and it's not like he's gonna go to prison for having that.
Not back then.
Yes.
Today we've got a lot of soldiers did time off of war trophies from the Middle East, which
Okay.
is dirty to me. I think if we're at war, we need to be at war.
Yeah.
Like, these are just my opinions, but if we're at war, we have the biggest muscles in the world. We need to flex those muscles. If you actually do the research of the history of our country going to war since World War II, we had so many self-regulated rules and regulations to what we could and couldn't do. So when people go, "Oh, it's a 25-year war," it's because it was a money war, and the whole thing's gross. But if we were allowed to do war,
Yeah.
just like, "Hey guys, that's the enemy, go to war," it would have been a 10-day war.
So you can
Like,
you
we
can
would have ended it so quickly.
you can end the person and everyone in that whole city that's there, but you pick up their pistol that's gonna rot and just
It's gonna get
corrode
get
messed
picked up by another enemy is what's gonna happen.
Then you're in trouble.
Yeah, you do like
I
20
see, I didn't know
year-
they did that.
You do like 15 to 20 years
See,
for
and-
a war trophy.
And I
At the beginning of the big push in like 01, 02, there were guys who would get leave in those first couple of years, and they would come back. They would try to come back with AKs or pistols or whatever, and those guys did time, real federal time, for war trophies, because that is somehow
Illegal,
inhumane or illegal. It's like, well, you've offed the dude because he's an enemy combatant. He's gone. That was your parameters of what you were sent to do. That's what you were trained to do. You were trained to end life. I'm sorry, that's all our military is trained to do, is end life efficiently. If we're going to end life efficiently and you want to come back with the enemy combatant's arms, that's what people have been doing in war since the time of war.
Yeah.
That's why the saying always went for the Spartans, and I know you've heard it because I know you've seen 300, with your shield or on it. Like, you do not lose your things. Either you come back on your shield being carried, or you come back with your shield. You do not lose your arms.
Yep.
Like, we've been doing that time immemorial. When we were throwing rocks, you collect their freaking sling. Like,
Yep.
you collect their bow. You bring back trophies of your conquest.
Or you need them to use them.
Yeah, or you bring back the enemy's sword. I've slain the enemy. Here is his sword.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a big insult to come back and then fight the enemy with the enemy's own weapons. Like, what is there? This shouldn't be illegal. Dudes shouldn't be doing time on it. You train them. You enlisted them to go to war. You train them to go to war. They go to war, and they want to come back with the souvenir of, "Hey, I went to war. This is what I did. This is what I'm coming back with." And then you're gonna punish them for that?
Yeah.
Like, it's such a twisted moral argument. Like, "Oh, no, you can't do that."
See.
It's like, well, what do you mean I can't do that? Because the other guy is going to keep my M4.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to keep my saw. Whatever it is I have, they're going to take.
They're gonna keep
And no
pictures of
one's
my
going to
kids.
punish them
I'm
for
just kidding.
taking it. Like, oh, man, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, but
But-
World War II was the last time we could come back with trophies.
Yeah, and I didn't know that, but I don't keep up with that. But
Yeah.
like
Vietnam, some people were able to sneak it because things were still loose, and it was such a corrupt police action. We were at war. That dudes were able to sneak stuff, but yeah, it wasn't allowed.
see, and I still think that's different. Like than a serial ender of life that
Yeah, keeping
Keeps
trophies of all
someone's
of his evil deeds.
tooth. Like
Yeah, that's
I-
twisted.
why wouldn't you want to? I would want to get rid. I
That's
just
some
I
Ed
wouldn't be a
Gein
good one.
stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Making lamps out of spines and
Well,
things.
I said I said tooth because Dexter.
Yeah.
The Tooth Fairy guy. We watched it a little bit ago, and that guy creeps me out. Like the actor does a very good job of being a creepy guy, if that makes sense. Like he's
What's
and I love
great
Dexter.
is going from watching Third Rock from the Sun
to watching
to
Dexter.
watching that. You know, he's also now going to be Dumbledore in the new,
Mhm.
which is a show that should never be made.
I agree.
Snape,
making
Snape
an-
is white, dude.
Didn't
Snape is white.
Didn't you know that they were made, or did you hear that there's? Jackie told me. I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's actually being made or one of those things. But apparently, they're making something else off of Lord of the Rings. No, not Lord of the Rings. Sorry, what's the one you got us into? I don't know why I said Dragon.
Thrones?
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they're doing another one.
But
Because they have House of the Dragon, and they're supposed to be they're talking about making something else.
yeah. So what she described to me I don't know what it is. I don't, because she said she just saw a tiny clip of it. But if it is what my interpretation of her description is, it's the Baratheon, the king in the very beginning. It's his journeying becoming king, which I was like, I would actually like to see that. That would be kind of cool.
I've heard a little bit about it because of, and I'm missing it now, but Friday Night Tights, all those guys are real big on the books because there's so much more to the books if you read them. There's so many other. That's House of the Dragon, or House of the Dragon. Oh yeah, House of the Dragon is actually from other books.
Yeah.
Um,
I knew that only because you told me.
And these guys have read. I haven't read all those. I've read a couple of the Lord of the Game of Thrones series of books. I've dabbled in it. I've read 3 of them, the first 3, once, and can't remember half of the different. Like, there's so many differences, and there's so many other characters. And then I jumped into, was it Feast of Crows? Dude, it's been so long now because I'm going back to like before the show was really a thing.
Yeah.
Because someone else introduced me to the books, so I got into them, and then watched the show, and then fell in love with the show, and then continued to try to dabble to stay ahead. And there's so much, dude. There's so many of the wargs. There's so many other characters, and they change so much that I was like, I can't read any more of these because there's so much not in the show that it's becoming complicated for me.
Yeah.
So I had to stop because like the what is she called? Not the red woman. Stone. Something Stone. The mom. Dude, it's been so long since I've talked about this. I'm trying to remember all the characters' names.
The mom of who?
The main mom. Sean Bean's wife.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I am trying to like.
Yeah,
I'm so jet lagged.
I can't even think of her name, but I'm exhausted. So
The main family are the
in the beginning.
Jon Snow's family. Starks.
Starks. Okay.
So the mother who was killed at the Red Wedding comes back as an undead person. Something Stoneheart, and like wreaks havoc on a bunch of other people. And does like she's actually pretty like big deal for the main storyline, and they cut all that out. Arya Stark, her adventure is so much more than they show. Like, they dabble in a little bit of it, but her like whole journey is so much bigger. There's so many other like characters that they don't ever introduce, or they kind of show like in the background of the Northmen, the actual Northmen. They're like little throwaway characters in that. Like, there's just so much more to that world. And it started getting complicated for me to try to follow
both.
And I skipped 2 books to jump ahead, thinking, "Oh, the show filled in enough, no problem." Nope. I was lost. I made it halfway through that book, and it's the book where the short guy who is angry, Tyrion, his journey with the Lord of Whispers when he escapes. There's so much more to that.
Oh, I bet.
I
felt like that was very short, even for what it was.
Yeah, there's so much more to all of it. God, stupid dogs. Sorry.
And we're back.
Kind of. They're still
yipping.
Yeah.
That's what dogs do.
Yeah. It's just annoying when they choose their timing poorly. Anyways.
Hopefully they'll stop.
Stupid dogs. Knock it off. They're already here. We're all dead already.
So I know this is way off subject than what we were just talking, but earlier when you said it, I just didn't want to interrupt you. You were like, "Oh, look at all the stuff that's different," and then we were pointing out these. When you started the show, I wanted to be like, Randy reprinted or printed a whole bunch of new stuff,
Yeah.
and he printed me a beard. I didn't have it last time.
No, you didn't. No, I was gonna say yesterday. I was like, yeah, man, I like it when you have a beard.
I Jackie likes it a lot as well.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
Bonjour.
So I shaved everything and then just like kept this, and like just trimmed right here. And when I walked out, she's like, "Hello," and I was like, "Hi."
Bonjour.
Howdy.
Bonjour.
All right, I guess we can end this one. Since...
Yeah, I got to get going soon anyway.
All right.
So
Tucson, Arizona. I'm Randy. Oh, I gotta do all this stuff.
yeah,
Are you though?
I think so. Oh yeah, you gotta. Man, I thought you were on top of it. I thought he knew what he was doing.
No, only done it a few
Like,
times.
subscribe,
Do all the things.
do all those things. Comment.
Bye.